Hello, I am representing the STUD Fall 2018 team. We are working on the Startup FIU version 1 questionnaire project. Product owner is Robert Hacker. The professor and mentor is Dr. Masoud Sajadi. The developers are Yolanda Belisario, Fernando Pujol, Noemi Valle, Yang Xiao, and myself, Rene Alfonso. For this video, we're going to demo a compilation of all the features for the entrepreneur actor. So let's take a look at the web app. In here, the user has created a new account. The entrepreneur team has sent us a token in here that we see in the URL, and then that launches the entrepreneur questionnaire, which is the work that we did. The way that works is that that token maps to a user ID on the database. So we get that token and then we are able to fetch the user. And that is how we link a questionnaire with a user for later so that we can run the algorithm. So let's launch the questionnaire. We have some questions here that we need to fill out. We can select different answers, and all of these questions are being pulled from the backend as well. If we submit them, it will tell you that some questions are incomplete, so we need to fill them out. If the admin changes any of the questions, what happens is that this page will dynamically load the new questions, which is great because we don't have this tight coupling. So the admin can go in, add new questions, or remove questions, and then we can always have the latest here without modifying any of the code on this side. We just display whatever information is running on the server. We use these questions to determine if a user is a good candidate for the entrepreneur program provided by Startup FIU. The idea is that we evaluate all of these answers based on the algorithm that we developed, and then we know if that candidate is a good match for the Startup FIU program. So let's submit it. What happens now is that we should get an email to our user account, in this case my email, and the admin will also get an email. So we get the confirmation here that we submitted the questionnaire. The URL will take us to sending an email. So the admin also receives a notification through the same process. That is a different actor in the system, so we have a separate video just for that. Because the product owner wanted a mobile presence, here's a demo of the mobile app running on an Android device. We're going to go ahead and launch the application now. So what's happening here is that this application has a state machine that we built, and the state machine is checking for the correct state. In this state is asking for permissions. We need to grant certain permissions to run on the latest versions of Android. Now in this state, the application is checking if the user is authenticated. The user is not, so let's click on the sign in button. We will authenticate with Google. We do not keep any of the information from the user, we just get a token from Google. And with that token, we're able to extract information from the user. That happened very fast, but at the same time, after we extracted the information from the user, we connected to our backend server at FIU. Then we sent a user model so that the backend has this new user added to the database. All of this is happening in the background asynchronously, so the user is not impacted in the UI. And what we do is we spin off threads that do this request. Another thing that happened as part of the state machine is that it fetched from our server the latest questionnaire, and we pulled it and stored it locally. Again, we do all this fetching async, so we will not run into any crashes due to holding on to the main thread. We are here on the landing page. The user can scroll up and down. Then we have some extensions down there for adding new features regarding the events and the profile, which are on the wish list. We made everything extensible and decoupled so that new developers can easily add those new features. So let's go ahead and launch the questionnaire. In here, we were prompted with the questions. Again, we pull those questions from the backend. So let's fill out the business concept. Then we exit and we come back. The product owner wanted that any progress should be saved. So even if we close the application and we launch it again, all our progress is saved in here. The state machine is checking to see if the user is already signed in. In our case, it's already signed in, so we don't need to do that state anymore. We go back to the questionnaire and we see that our changes are there and they were stored. Now we try to submit the questionnaire. Since it's incomplete, we get this dialog, and then we also get red on the unanswered questions so that the user can easily identify them and answer them. So let's fill out the entire questionnaire. Then we submit it. We get a notification. We can expand this notification to read more information about it, and then we can dismiss it. Now we have successfully submitted the questionnaire. We send the questionnaire with the APIs that we define on the backend so that the application can send that data to the backend server. The questionnaire is processed using the same logic that we use when the entrepreneur submits the questionnaire from the website. So it doesn't matter whether you submit it from the mobile app or the website, it will get processed by the same backend, and the same algorithm will run the same code. So we want to make sure that we reuse as much as possible, and that means that both the admin and the user will receive that email that we saw earlier saying that the questionnaire was submitted. It's important to note that we collect all this data on the backend server and we store it on our MongoDB database so that we can run the algorithm and keep information about the user and the questionnaire as well. Thank you. We hope that this information has been useful. Again, the product owner is Robert Hacker. The professor and mentor is Dr. Masoud Sajjadi. The developers are Yolanda Belisario, Fernando Pujo, Noemi Valle, Yang Xiao, and Rene Alfonso. Thank you, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions